Look at this crew. It's a good-looking crew on here.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
I gotta change my title.
Yeah, I think that most of you know that you can click on your own name. You can type in your name. You can type in where you're from. If you want to type in even, who you target as, your clients or whatever, type something that's fun in there. Okay. Hey, Comey, you made it.
Yes, I made it.
All right. I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. All right. And we've got Abby Gibb is on. Comey has been in the program since the beginning, but he works in a hospital in the emergency room. Right? So a lot of times they're in surgery, and Comey's. I'll have you introduce yourself a little bit on this one. Comey.
Yeah, no problem.
Same with Abby Gibb. Abby works for a local TV station, but she's also building a brand. So she's on TV. She's constantly, out, in the field. But she's now building a brand, and she's going to be a great addition to the team of coaches and speakers and trainers here too. So she's going to be building, and I'll have her tell a little bit about that. She's going to build her own brand. So Comey, share a little bit about you as we get started, and then everybody's going to share impact and income wins over the last 2 weeks. Okay, so Comey, share a little bit about you and what you're most passionate about with coaching.
Yes, sir. Yes, my name is Tommy. Sorry, I missed the first meeting 2 weeks ago. I live in Oklahoma, in the States. I'm a nurse, work in a hospital, and I have always been passionate about health. And I was, the time I can remember, I was really young. I wondered, what can I do to live forever? And yes, my answer was, well, I grew up in Africa, and the climate is tropical, so it's always warm. So my thought process was, well, I know it's cold in Europe, it's cold in the States, and back home we had a lot of, refrigerators, spread around. Everybody had one because it's hot, so that's how you keep, food cold. So if we could keep food cold in the fridge, maybe if I go to the States or go to Europe, it's cold. So maybe the cold will help me, stay young and healthy for time. That's the mind of an 8-year-old. That's what I thought. So by the grace of God, things happening, I ended up in the States. And for the past years, I use myself as a guinea pig. I know someone else here has done the same thing, just try different type of stuff to stay in shape in the least amount of time possible. So every time I go to the gym, my motto is be the most effective in the least amount of time to stay in shape, increase energy, vitality, and I have achieved on myself, and I want to be able to spread that, to other people. I have never built a business from the ground up, so I believe this is my chance to be able to do that by being part of this mastermind. And it looks like a beautiful mix of people who have some experience and others who have no experience doing that. So I look forward to learning, the process, growing, and hopefully making impacts.
I love it. I love it. Well, what's cool is Comey's making a transition, like many of you, from being not really in a corporate job, but being in the healthcare industry, and now he wants to be a thought leader in health, but health and fitness, not just in the hospital. So you'll be able to see the transition of him and the building of his personal brand and who he aligns with, through this process. So welcome aboard. And again, I know the rest of you got introduced each other on the last one, so I'm going to ask Abby to share a little bit about where she's been and where she's headed. And that way you all start to get to know each other, because each of you is going to be building your personal brand and building your business with a specialty, with a primary conversation. So Abby, welcome.
Hi. Hello, this is so fun. Okay, so my name's Abby. I've been a TV journalist around the country for my whole career, really. And I went back to school and got my master's in nutrition, and then I started to put the two together into shows. So I created a brand called Tired Girl because every girl is tired and doesn't have time. So it was, just out of that grew. And then I created another brand called Bossify. That's a female interview show because I realized that I was meeting all these amazing women. I was thought leaders, presidents, and just CEOs and such cool women through my job. And I wanted to be able to share all of those interviews that I usually get to do on a daily basis with the rest of the public. I created that. And I actually created another show called Travel Light. That's a healthy living and lifestyle travel show. And actually, I haven't told you, Jim. So next week, I have a second call back with another major network to kind of start. I signed an NDA already, so we're kind of like in that little negotiation period to bring those to national, like on TV, like you would see like a normal show. So it's been a long road, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
I love it. I love it. So, and each of you, Comey, Abby, will get to meet each of the other people. I'm going to ask, since, Margaret and Scott and Hans and Risa and Ajay have already introduced themselves, a little deeper. I'm going to ask each of you to just talk about what is your kind of niche. All right. So in 15 to 30 seconds, and that way Abby and Comey go, oh, okay. Scott is focused on this. Margaret's focused on this. All right. We'll get to know each other deeper later. But let's dive in. So Scott, why don't you share a little bit about, in 15 to 30 seconds, here's what I'm doing in coaching, like your niche.
Sure. Hey, everybody. It's great to see you. So my niche is, I would say it's about redesigning yourself through home. So it's kind of this consciousness about how your home environment affects you, and this reflection of your home environment of who you are and who you're being, and this transformation that happens through home. So I've created a system, a process for distinguishing your heartfelt desires, your values, and your lifestyle, and then integrating them into your home. And like Abby, I started making videos and creating a series, and that's kind of the bigger vision, is to bring this to the world through video and TV.
Through a reality TV show about transforming the home environment to transform the human.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a Property Brothers, but with more of the conscious of why you would design that home that way versus it just looks cool.
Definitely.
All right. Cool. Let's go to Margaret. Margaret.
Okay. Hey, I'm Margaret. I don't have my niche nailed down entirely, but I am interested in helping people become healthier. Nutrition, not like hardcore exercise, but definitely just keep your body moving. So that's where I'm at.
All right. So we'll define that, and we'll find out what your sub niche is so that you can target down. I want to give you guys and gals an example. And we're going to talk about your impact and your income wins over the last couple of weeks. What have you done to move your business vision and mission forward? And what have you done from an income standpoint? That kind of piece. So I went to Boise, Idaho, and was there for the Russell Brunson event, where we broke the world record for the most number of people playing bubble soccer. Right? It was insane. There's 100 of us in these bubbles knocking each other around, this and that. So it's a complete marketing thing, right? It's just fun and marketing, but being around 200 other business owners like Gary Vee or Gary Vaynerchuk, if you know him, the Harmon brothers that created the viral videos like Poopery and Squatty Potty and those other ones, they were there. So what was I sharing that? Oh, the niching and the sub-niching. So I met a gal who was a fitness trainer who built up a 500,000 person following on Facebook just by shooting her little videos on fitness workouts. Oh. And she sells an ebook for $37 for women who've had babies that have the little bladder leak afterwards. You know, they lose a little control of the bladder. She sells an ebook on that for $37, and she's done 1.5 million in the last year. One product solves one problem for one niche, and she has these videos that got her clientele together, and she sells an ebook. And that's it. No upsells, no backsells, no nothing. 1.5 million on that. I met another couple that has done something also in the fitness industry, health and fitness. She shoots these little workout videos every single day, and they're now spinning off a clothing line. They're doing, I think, close to 4 or 5 million a year with their product. Okay, so I wanted to share that because we're gonna help you, Margaret, find your niche. Who is your avatar? What's the channel that you're going to market these people to these people? And then what's the product or service that you sell? It's all based in this wheel that we talked about before. All right, Mr. Hans, who's your niche?
My niche are executives, and I came with a new title, and the title is Strategist for Business and Being. So not an executive coach anymore, because I think there's a lot of competition, but this is the new title. I have something in common with Comey, because my first education was to become a teacher in physical education. So I have a sports background, and with Scott and Abby, I made, as a producer and director, almost 1,000 corporate videos in the first 10, 12 years of my company. So we have things in common. But now I have a marketing strategy firm in Amsterdam, or close to Amsterdam. I live in Amsterdam. And I'm also, like Margaret, a little bit looking for the specific niche. I'm not totally sure yet.
Yeah, I think we need to clarify that a little bit more. So we'll work on your avatar. Who's your ideal client, and what's the problem that you solve for them?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ajay.
Hey guys, good to meet you. So I thought about what we covered last week. I think the niche I'll be exploring will be around mindset coaching. So I think I'm going to go with the terminology mindset coach, which is derived from an interview I saw with the New Zealand All Blacks, which is a rugby team coach, a mental skills coach. It was on BBC or CNN, I can't remember, the other day, and I was so surprised by the title they put on display, that there's such a thing as a mental skills coach, and that it clicked for me. I said, okay, this is the avenue I want to explore, and I think I'm gonna settle on mindset coach as my niche going forward.
All right, and then who would you target? Would you do athletes, CEOs, moms, corporate executives? Like, who would be your avatar?
Good question. I don't know would be the honest answer to that.
All right, we'll have to craft that, because part of the challenge is the more general you are, the harder it is to monetize. And we'll talk about that. Now, you can serve everybody as a mindset coach. So there's the plus side. The downside is it's harder to understand how do you gain dominance and traction in the market side. Right. So unless, like Abby, for example, is going to broadcast on a very wide channel like mainstream TV, okay? And then what you're going to find is your buyers are going to have certain niches. And so we might as well target them. All right, Risa.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome. So I serve small to mid-sized businesses and individuals, and tracking and knowing their numbers, tracking their finances. So I'm a bookkeeper, and I am looking to figure out, craft a way to roll out and leverage the business that I already have to meet a broader spectrum of people.
Okay, so go ahead and mute out, Risa.
Okay.
We need to get your audio solved before the next webinar, you're getting feedback between the mic and the speaker. So we'll work offline to get that. Maybe Jen can help you with that, but it's probably the technology you're using. Might be, you know, if you're on a PC, I think we talked about this last time, you're going to have to get a headset if you stay on a PC, because you're getting feedback coming through. But let me clarify for everybody for Risa. So Risa runs a bookkeeping, accounting service for business owners. She's now wanting to move into financial coaching and literacy. So we'll build her platform that she will target probably most likely small business owners around financial freedom or financial literacy or how to get financially free while being a business owner, because that'll funnel people into her existing business. So she'll position herself as a thought leading expert or her brand. It'll either be her or her brand, and then it'll back end into her business. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. It wouldn't matter if she was a plumber or whatever. You can build your personal brand and your coaching and speaking and training business, and then funnel it into whatever that back end is. All right, so let's talk a little bit now about wins that you've had between last time we spoke and now. And just from a habit standpoint, let's talk about impact and income. And I want to clarify this just so we get used to a common language here. Impact wins are going to be anything that impacts your business or your clients for the positive, okay? So an impact win can be anything. It might be something you did in marketing. It might be something that happened in customer support, like you hired somebody or whatever. Like that can be an impact win. An income win relates to the bottom line of the business. And since everybody here is starting out your business and under $1 million in your coaching business, the number one priority is to get to $1 million. Or some of you want to make 6 figures, that's fine. 6 figures to $1 million. So we're going to talk about what did you do to generate cash. So for example, I'll model this. From an impact standpoint, I went to the Russell Brunson event. We got some cool media, and I struck up 3 really good relationships that could be potential joint ventures in the future. So kind of marketing. From an income standpoint, this is a contract. I'm going to sign it here. This is a contract for me to run a wealth workshop in the Philippines, and they're paying us $30,000 to show up, and we'll make somewhere between $100,000 to $1 million on the back end. Okay, so that's how you relay an impact win. I'm going to sign it on this call because my feng shui master said this is when I'm supposed to sign it. No. Okay.
Yeah.
She's the one who told me to look east for cash flow business, so I might as well pay attention to her because that's minimum $30,000 to probably 500 to $1 million on the back end. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So who wants to share first while I sign this? What is your impact and your income? Just one, impact and income. Try to make it laser.
I could do one. Right. I have an impact. I started coaching someone for their health. It did not affect my income because I'm doing it pro bono because it's someone who needs the help and it gives me good practice. But I think the practice helps me because I've never been a coach before. So obviously I have to have that skill before I can sell it.
All right. So that's your impact. What's one thing you did do? And it might be personal income. I always want people to think in both categories. Did you do anything that generated income at all?
Well, in my other company, our technology company, I sent invoices and billed people and, so yeah, definitely we generated income in that side of my life.
Perfect. Yeah. You don't have to separate,
Okay.
Your coaching business is what we're here to build, but that's your bridge, right? Between your technology company, which makes great money, it's new. So that's your funding source right now. So if you're collecting cash in that business or you're building that business, actually you and your husband are splitting that business.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
And he's keeping that. So
he's keeping the business. So right. This is a financial bridge for you.
If I could just say quickly to Risa, I know that he is so tied to this business and has no personal freedom outside of it. I know that it's something what you're talking about doing would be wonderful for him as a small business owner. Just a great idea.
Perfect. All right. I love it. Who's next? Impact and income.
Are we? Okay.
Scott.
Okay. So I would say impact. So I just did a workshop on Saturday, presenting my process. So it was the second workshop and presenting this system. And actually, I laid a lot of foundation for it, even in my community here. So I went out and I promoted, and I actually, like with the hardware store, Ace Hardware, and then some of the psychologists in the area and some of the other merchants. And so it was about really bringing the community together and bringing awareness. And I've actually set up quite a few meetings for next week to pull the community together and just start to have this conversation with different professionals.
So part of your marketing strategy is building a network in the community.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's your impact. What did you do on an income side, either in your primary, business, your carpenter business, or coaching?
So the one product that I'm selling right now is built-in cabinetry, and kind of runs itself. I have a team that does that. And so one of the things that it was about, defining or creating value proposition. So I created a triangle with it, and I said, there's education, design, and build, and really started to build value from that space. And I started to have conversations with clients. I actually, the interesting thing is that, my contracts are fairly large. And so I actually haven't signed a contract in a month. So it's interesting. It's allowed me space to really position myself, yet maybe I need to be a little more proactive in generating income here.
Yep, that's a good insight then. Okay, it's easy to get distracted in all the other pieces of business and forget about what's closest to the cash.
Definitely.
One of the core things as entrepreneurs, and I'm going to mix in some of what I'm teaching to our 25K business group with what I'm teaching on the life and business, coaching, speaking, training, that side. It's very easy to get caught up in building a website or creating content or whatever. But at the end of the day, and you can ask Risa this, there is a bottom line on a P&L, and that's your profit. So you got to have your cash flow as a constant conversation in your business. Every day, what did we do to generate cash? Because that will pay for a lot of these other things.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Who's next?
I'll go. I feel like that's interesting that you say that, because that's sort of the exact opposite of my mind. I'd been working for so long was just like create content. That's what I always did. I didn't think about the cash flow side for so long. So my impact is that I've been working one-on-one with clients for quite some time, but I've never really built a plan before. So pristinely laid out. So I built a 7-day slim down plan, and also a food delivery portion to it. So people can either cook it and do it themselves, or they can get it delivered. And we've started beta testing women, and every woman lost 7 pounds in 7 days at least, no matter what size they started at. And to hear the women say, I thought there was something really wrong with my body. I thought my body was always going to be like this. I didn't think I could ever lose any more, any weight, the baby weight, the whatever. And it's why I do what I do. It's really exciting to see women start to understand their bodies, because they can't love their bodies until they understand their bodies. And I actually think it's a blessing that I didn't get as many orders. Like, the marketing was a little bit tricky to start, and logistics was a lot harder than I expected on website ordering and all that stuff. So we haven't gotten as many orders as I was putting my personal goal at, but I actually think it's helpful because it's less stress on me right now to handle. I have 15 clients this coming week, which I want 20. And so I feel like 15 is actually a more realistic number for me for my first group of women. So,
Share with me real quick.
Actually making money off of something. So there's that.
Yeah. So what are you charging for each of those clients? It's a group format. What are you charging? Because I want to hear the income side.
It's $32.99 for the digital download. So I personally like digital download because there's nothing on my end, right? Like they just download it and then we have a group conversation. I don't have to worry about anything. The meal delivery is a little more stressful for sure, obviously. And that's $279. And it's split evenly between my business partner who's doing like operations, all the delivery and marketing, the chef, and me. So my revenue on that one is almost the same. It's like $36. And it's so much stressful, but it's like a really helpful thing for so many women because they wouldn't do it if they didn't get it all delivered to themselves.
So here's an important piece. So when we're looking at each of your businesses,
yeah,
you're going to have active income and passive income. Okay. In order for Abby's food delivery service to become passive income, she has to have somebody else that's managing and running it. Abby's the star of the show, right? She's the content creator, but she's got to put team and systems in place so that every other piece of this is run.
And they're doing better, but I mean, it's their first time, but I still have to it's been a lot more challenging. I can't just design a plan, food test it, taste it, say, this is what I want, and then walk away. It's not at that stage.
But you're building an asset and you're building so you can get back into the marketing and branding side.
Right. Yeah.
This is important because each of you is going to have that. Scott, for example, when we get you on your reality TV show, right? That's really a marketing channel and you've got sponsors, but you're going to have whatever your back end is. That back end should be built because when you make it rain, in other words, you turn on all the marketing, you want buckets in place that catch that. That's what Abby's building is her buckets right now.
I actually, and just in a tiny bit of spirituality, I really feel like at first I thought, what was I doing wrong? I think a big progress this week for me was realizing that every challenge is a blessing. And I've said that for a while, but I really believe that when you say, let your hands be of service, that you will be protected. And I feel like I'm being protected as I'm building this bucket to really fine tune right now, because pretty soon it's a math problem. One of these will finally break. You get the national show. And if you haven't fine tuned it, you have 100,000 women and your bucket is too small or it has holes or something's not working.
Yeah, to sustain it.
Yeah, and it would be, if I was trying to do anything else right now, if I was in the middle of actual contract negotiations for this show and dealing with this, I would feel completely overwhelmed and I'd feel like a failure because I want everything to be perfect and it wouldn't work yet. I'm still too new, and that's very humbling because I, of course, want to be you, Jim, yesterday, but it doesn't work like that. It takes some time. It's great.
People see the end result. They forget about the hours and decades of preparation, and that's what I want to shortcut for each of you. And even Abby, you're a creator profile, right? So you're very creative. So are a number of people on here. So we're going to balance creativity with execution. And this is really important because, again, remember the reason I told the story about a gal who has 500,000 followers on her fitness channel and sells one ebook and made $1.5 million in the last year is because it doesn't have to be complex. And Abby, you're building an empire, but we want to make sure we get a couple of products that are monetizing. And you will end up with 4 or 5. And we'll know which ones are producing the highest revenue. One of them is probably going to be the one that skyrockets. So, but we've got to get you into the cash flow so that the universe tells you this is where the money is. This is what people want. Keep it simple. Simplicity succeeds and complexity kills when it comes to business. Yeah,
I totally agree. And I just was surprised at the breakdown of pricing that I wasn't making any more money by doing that. It's more just as a novelty for women, but I'm not actually like you were saying, the simplest form is actually what's making the most money for me.
Nice.
You got it. This is important. Well, look, again, we're all getting to know each other, and I'm getting to understand you and your thinking around business and your business models as we go through this. But I want you to also be listening to each other's business models. And you're going to find that the cash is going to be in certain spots. And some things you just have to do, but you will end up also knowing what to cut. All right, cool. Who's next? Impact and income win. Let's laser in.
I could go.
Go for it, Colin.
Yes. As far as impact is concerned, I think I'm on a path to start to market my theory. I was able to approach one girl at work who was interested in losing weight and try to, strengthen her back because she's had some back issues. So I told her about my program, and she was very interested. The thing is, I got to the point where I have narrowed down to my my niche or even sub niche. The market is health for sure, and the niche is fitness. And then my sub niche is kettlebell based fitness.
Say that again. What's the sub niche?
Kettlebell. It's
Kettlebell.
Yes, kettlebell. Yes.
Kettlebell.
Yes, based fitness, because it's just one tool that you could do everything with. It's very versatile. Which didn't know anything about it. She was very interested. She looked it up, and she's at a point where she needs to decide, okay, do I need to buy this thing, or how can I get access to this so I can test it out? So I'm kind of thinking, okay, now, what is, where do I go from here? Do I offer to come teach her, or do I just hand her my fitness program that I have written out? So, I'm kind of in between thinking of the next best action to take.
So let's run for this. Let's run with this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm liking, and by the way, you very well broke that down into the category, the niche, and the sub-niche. Did everybody hear that?
Yeah.
Comey, did you learn that from the Expert Secrets book?
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect. That's what I wanted to know. How many of you got your book?
Oh.
And you've read that? Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, so this is really important. What the hell's mine? Oh, Michelle grabbed mine. Abby, do you have that yet?
I don't have it yet, no.
You can get it for free if you go to expertsecrets.com/ultimate, ULTIMATE. All you do is pay for the shipping. You want to get that book. A lot of what I'm going to have to help you implement is inside that book, so rip through it. So what Comey's talking about is, give me one sec, I'm going to run. What page is that on?
Man, I can't remember.
Anybody know?
No, it's
It's like page 11.
yeah.
Thank you. Page 11. And Abby, you're going to dig this book too.
Oh, I'm sure I am. So it's expertsecret.com/what?
Ultimate.
Ultimate. Okay.
Yep. All right. So here's, so Russell and I are friends. You all know that, right? When I first read this chapter, I looked at on page 11, the three markets. And what are the three markets?
Oh.
Yeah, the attractive character.
Yeah, happiness, health, and wealth.
Oh, yeah.
HHW. And then he goes into the sub-niches. Under each of those, what are the sub-niches? So, like wealth, for example, a sub-niche would be niche would be investing. And then a sub-niche would be purchasing homes on eBay. Right? So very, very niched. The reason you want to niche is that it gets you, it's easier to target your avatar and to solve one problem. So let's say that Comey says, all right, the category is health, the niche is fitness, the sub-niche is kettlebell. Now all of a sudden, I can, in my head, go, All right, I can think about Comey's branding being Comey the Kettlebell King.
Oh, no, it's alliteration. It's perfect.
Right? So right off the bat, I go Comey the Kettlebell King. So we can build a personal brand off that. Then I can look at this and go, now who does Comey target? Based on his background and being in healthcare, right? If I'm Comey, I might be focusing initially on doctors and nurses because they don't have a lot of time, and he's one of them. So I might build my product that everybody would want it with Comey the Kettlebell King, but I might target a course that specifically talks about how surgeons and doctors and whatever can use kettlebell to strengthen their their bodies and their minds while they're in surgery. You hear how sub-niche that is?
Yeah.
But here's what's cool. When I laid that out, what are you hearing? I want to hear your marketing minds. What are we hearing?
I think it's nice too because it's so portable, a kettlebell. And if you're stuck in the surgery all day and you don't really have time to go to the gym, you can, have it in your locker or whatever.
Yeah, I might carry my Comey kettlebells around, right? Right. So are those the Comey kettlebells? Oh yeah.
Yes.
So your product line extensions. What triggered this for me was Comey was asking, do I provide a service which is coaching her one-on-one? Do I hand her my product, which he was thinking DVD or online course? And my head's already going to, yeah, you might have a inside of our app. And this is what Abby's doing. Abby's got a 7-day health product, right, or program.
Oh, nice.
She's going to sell it on her website, but we're also putting it in our app. Okay? Now, Comey might be doing a 7-day kettlebell challenge, the Comey Kettlebell Way. And he might have a product that they order online, because if I don't have those, why not get the ones that look super cool that Comey has private labeled from some kettlebell manufacturer, but he's built a following and a brand as the Comey Way.
Nice.
One thing that I'm discovering is that people want snippets, sound bites, and things they can do in between activities. It's a busy life, and they want something they can boom, boom, hit, and get something from, and then move on with their daily activities.
All right. So Comey may have a 60-second or 3-minute killer kettlebell crush.
That's awesome.
Right? So, on my way to surgery, I'm going to grab the Comey kettlebell. And while I'm going down there, I'm walking down the hospital hall. I'm pumping my kettlebells, right?
Get it, Comey. I like it. Get it, Comey.
Yes.
Okay. So you're showing me in that environment. It's fun. It's cool, right? And boom, I'm going into surgery.
Yeah.
So Abby's marketing and media mind is going to kick in here on this too. The product mind is kicking in. The online and digital service. Comey, if you're going to do privates and we build a brand where you're the king or the expert, well, then I want to see you on video with celebrities and CEOs and the best whoever's in the world, because now I know you're charging. If I'm going to get you one-on-one, you're going to charge a shit ton of money for me to come to your house or you come to mine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. My plan is, since the kettlebell is so portable, kind of, brand myself as, let the gym come to you. All I need is, few kettlebells. Show up at the house or at your office. 30 minutes. If you have 30 minutes, we can make things happen. That's kind of, what I'm thinking of.
Well, you're gonna want levels to it. I'd like to see a 3-minute and a 30-minute.
Okay.
Okay, because everybody can do 3 minutes and feel like I got a win in today, but maybe twice a week or 3 times I can do a 30-minute.
Yes.
Right? So you need because Scott gave you a little insight to the audience market. Make sure you hear it. People need micro experiences today. And then they want to maximize, which is why I have levels to our program, right? We have a 24-hour challenge. We're probably going to do 10-minute challenges, okay? And then 24, 28-day, 90-day, year-long, because people are at different levels. The other piece I just saw was the Comey kit, okay? So and your branding could have a really cool K in there,
Yeah.
right? And you gotta get some kind of symbolism going with this. But the Comey kit that's in my car. So if I'm a surgeon, right, you show a picture of me throwing up my Ferrari, and in the back is this really kick-ass, case that has got my 3 kettlebells and something else in there, but it looks badass. What's that? Oh, that's my Comey kit.
Maybe with wheels too, because it'd be heavy to carry it all.
For women, you might have a girl's version or a guy's
I'm
version.
saying if you've got 5 kettlebells, I'm not saying you can't carry one around, but if you've got different levels.
Yeah, you might have to have the home version, but the portable version.
And then
I think the idea of a kettlebell is you're actually supposed to be carrying it.
But not all at once. All right, I want to see you walking with 5 kettlebells.
We've got the Comey Segway. He's on the bicycle. I can't
the keychain too to go with it.
Comey keychain. All right. So you see where we're going with it, Comey? We're building your brand. Now, there's a media side to this too, but I want to open up your mind to how you can build your personal brand and your product line extensions and create a kick-ass brand the whole way through. And all this started because you were willing to sub-niche first. It doesn't mean that somebody other than a busy surgeon won't buy your product. As a matter of fact, they probably will. But I want you to come in at the high end of the market. You already make great money in your job, right? You make really good money. So in order for this to be profitable for you, you're going to have to build a $1 million a year back end. I want you to think at that level to start.
Sounds great. Yeah, thank you.
All right, nice win. This is all around the wins. So who wants to go next? Impact or income or both in your biz? Laser it in.
I have both, Jim. If you talk about the impact, tomorrow evening I'm going to explain the 9 environments to 8 business people at the Dutch border close to Germany. I do it for free. They only pay me the expenses. But those could be, they're 8 businessmen. One owns a large hotel, and they all different kinds of businesses. So that's what I'm going to do the evening. And maybe I do it twice, also in the north of Holland. And I just practice my skills of explaining the 9 environments. I printed it out. I laminated it so it is in plastic. I will hand it out to them. And that is, I think, an impact, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. So let me break this down a little bit because I want people to understand what you're doing. So part of your marketing strategy is you're using a content marketing strategy in a physical event, right? So you're running an event where you're having your audience in the room. You're using content, which is the 9 environments. I might move it one step further in there and do the 9 environments assessment. So get them to take the assessment.
I will do that too. Yes.
And what does the assessment do for them?
I let them fill in the assessment, and then I will ask people who like to share their weakest environment, and I continue to talk about it. Tomorrow,
strongest and weakest. You always want somebody to have a win and an area of improvement.
Okay. Yes.
But what is it doing for them when they take the assessment? What's the difference of them taking the assessment versus you just teaching the 9 environments?
Well, I like to teach the environments first so they know exactly what they are going to do. And then they fill it in. It will be a break in the program. Then we have dinner. And after dinner, I'm going to zoom in on their specific questions.
Okay. So let me drive a little deeper in this. What is the purpose of doing an assessment? What does it do for the client?
Well, they're doing their business. They have no idea how their life in the 9 environments is developing. The people don't know the 9 environments assessment in Holland. So I think they will be sometimes a little bit shocked, sometimes touched, sometimes the eyes will go open because they see something that they were not aware of. And that's what I like to address, to show them this is only the start. There's more, and I can give you more.
So let me explain it more clearly. If I walk into a doctor's office, if I go into Comey's hospital or doctor's office, the first thing that they should do is assess me. Okay. Now that is a doctor, a nurse, or an expert assessing.
Yeah.
When you give somebody the 9 environments assessment, they're doing a self-assessment, which means that whatever they discover on there, because you said it raises their awareness, whatever they discover, they are saying is wrong or right in their life. So there's a difference between an expert assessment and between a self-assessment. Now, what I like about the self-assessment is you don't have to tell them something's wrong in their life. They just told you.
Right.
When you debrief the 9 environments assessment, what's important is that when they look at that, you don't just assume that the lowest score is the one they want to work on first, because they may be low in relationship, but they actually want to work on financial. So there's a distinction between what's their lowest score and what area they want to improve first. So don't assume that because I scored low in the body environment or in the relationship environment, that that's actually where I want you to help me first. I may want you to help me in spirituality.
Yeah.
Okay. This is really important. And sometimes I've seen coaches make the mistake of assuming, well, you're low in that area, you should focus on that first. I'm the client. I want to focus on this first.
Yes.
So get them to self-assess and get them to self-diagnose where they want to start first. And then as the coach, your job is to hold them accountable to doing that environment first and showing them how that will then impact the other environments. So if I help you improve your spiritual environment or yourself or your mimetics or your physical or whatever it is, that's going to send a ripple through the other environments.
Yes, clear.
Okay.
Clear. I also have an financial win, because after negotiating for over a week with the University of Barcelona in Spain, they finally gave me the green light, and not only the green light, but they sent the project proposal, which is 7,000 euros, to my bank account. So I will get it tomorrow, which is for me very nice.
Yay!
Good.
Hans, I'm curious. What project is that? Can you share?
That's what I
can.
hear.
I can. It is the La Salle University of Barcelona started a project in Holland. The project failed, and the director of the project went back to Spain. But he left a lot of open ends. For example, the suppliers were not paid. They stayed in the World Trade Center, and the sum they paid as a deposit was not turned back. The bank account has to be stopped or terminated. The Chamber of Commerce has 2 notifications of this Dutch company they have to stop. And I will get the proxy to arrange to stop everything in a neat and orderly way. Because now they're still paying 1,000 to the accountant every month, and the suppliers, they threaten to go to court. So they really needed somebody who could solve this problem. That's what I'm going to do for them. But it was a tough call, but because I really had to fight for, they didn't want to pay it up front. I know they bad reputation of payment. So I said, no, I need it up front, otherwise I don't start. They tried to squeeze me, but I kept my back straight. And finally the CFO said, okay, we will pay you.
Good job.
Nice.
That's a great example. That's exactly what I want to hear, because as we start to, as everybody gets to know each other, we want, number one, transparency in your business. What's working and where do we need to improve? And I want to hear the wins on income and impact side. So if you close a 7,000 euro deal, share it. It inspires everybody else to stay in that flow. You close a radio deal, a TV deal, you get into a networking deal, you launch your website, you generate your first client, you sell your first product. All of those are things that we want to hear because we'll build momentum in this group. So nice job, Hans. Awesome. All right.
Can I share 2 short wins as well?
Sure.
Both impact. One is I could buy a photo camera for the son of my wife, a Leica camera for a very cheap price. So he's coming here over at 10 o'clock at night. It's now here 9:30. And we will give him his present. And another one was this month I started as a marketing lecturer at Amsterdam University. So I'm totally into marketing as well. But I had this large group of 75 students, first years. They are from 16 different nationalities, and the whole group was hectic. So it really was a challenge for me to tune them into being silent, listening to me, listening to each other. Don't play games on their laptops or make selfies on their iPhones. It was really a mess. And it was a big challenge for me. Yes. Oh yeah, they look for little animations and they talk, but I'm now so far that they're quiet. I am not a lecturer, I am a businessman, but because of the stories and because of my new PowerPoints, I'm finally getting a grip of this hectic group of young students. So that's also for me a win.
All right. Nice job. I love it.
Awesome.
Cowboy. All right. Who's next? Ajay?
I can go next. Quick wins on impact. I picked up the book. Started reading the book. Works on my bubbles, as we termed it last time. On my attractive character. I haven't got my values completely figured out, so I'll be working on that. But in terms of my attractive character, my triangle, I think I put down science, which includes neuroscience and physics, and I'll get to that in a second. And spiritual and lifestyle. And the reason I put that down is lifestyle-wise, because ultimately my business is going to be location independent. I think we talked about this briefly last time. Lifestyle, but I put financially free. That's one of my goals. I put it under lifestyle because of the worries I won't have by being tied to a steady day-to-day job that ties me down. Look, in terms of both location and in terms of my dependency financially. Science and spiritual, that's a bit weird because they tend not to go together usually. But science I put down because I have a strong interest in neuroscience. I'd like to know how the brain works. I want to know how the chemicals work and how people get to that peak state mentally, and what you can do from a science-based perspective. I watched a brief, and I'll keep this brief. I watched I'm a geek or nerd. You'll figure that out pretty soon if you haven't already. And I watched this TED talk the other day on what constitutes a true vacuum. Exciting stuff, right? In space, that is. So so I watched that, and halfway through.
I watched it too. It's fine. You're totally fine.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Great stuff, Abby. So I watched that, and halfway through, something that just blew my mind. In fact, I put this in the ad, but learned something new about what constitutes a true vacuum. In that, it said something to the tune of the subatomic particles that we envision as proper particles, just minusculely small, but particles nonetheless. Don't actually exist. It's all a vibrational frequency, energy, basically, that exists along a grid across the entire universe called quantum field theory. And I had a field day with this. I think I spent the entire week researching this stuff, quantum field theory and how that works. And this is something I want to work into, into my coaching sessions as well. Now I'm not sure whether to put that under science or whether to move that into the spiritual realm, because it kind of goes with that as well.
I want to hop into yours real quick.
Sure.
you're trying to figure out your attractive character, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't this yours from last time?
So we had, what's up, the neuroscience. So I kept it a bit more general. I changed that to science in general and made the neuroscience a subset of that.
Yeah, and I think I want to challenge your assumption that science and spirituality don't go together, because I think they do.
Yeah, definitely.
I would blend those two into spiritual science,
Okay.
you know, like the quantums, the universe,
Yeah.
you know, all the way down to the brain. You know, that's where Ashraf is playing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's all up in here in this neuroscience, spirituality, vibration, energy, power versus force. I think the other piece that we had for you was, you know, corporate business, right?
Yeah.
That's where you've spent the last how many years?
This is where my last, what's it now, 2017? Last 6 years, 7 years now.
Okay, so you got something in there. And then family and friends.
Family and friends.
Your personal interests, right? So I think those were your three. And all these things can be subsets. So when we build your media, okay, we build your brand, your personal brand and your business brand, all the media that you publish are going to be in those areas. Okay? And I think that'll work for you.
Yeah. The reason I wasn't sure about business as I thought about it is I could talk to that. Obviously, I could relate to a lot of like business transformations, you know, layoffs and restructuring, all the good stuff that happens in the corporate world. I'm just not. I don't know. Just doesn't excite me, to be honest with you. So this is why I thought I might swap that out with something else.
So this is a question mark for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And that's fair enough. So what's missing then is who, and if it's not going to be you sharing, you know, this kind of stuff in that business market, then we'll need to look at, all right, then who are you targeting?
Yeah.
So we'll work on that. And by the way, everybody, it's not always clear right off the bat. Okay, some of this stuff just takes time.
There was one. There's a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? It's actually really well done. It talks about quantum physics and how everything happens simultaneously. It's about what we choose to focus on. It's done in a very kind of practical way, which it sounds like weird-headed AJ with this connection between our physical the physical world and practical world, or the spiritual world and practical world.
Interesting. I'll check it out. Just so happens that I just renewed my Netflix subscription, so I'll check it out, see if it's on there.
Yeah, it's been around for a while, but it was a great movie.
I feel also, Jim, like what you're saying right now resonates with me in that as we share more of our strengths and weaknesses and our gains of the week, it creates, as you were saying before, that trajectory of vibration, that positive vibration that we all feed off of. And it's palpable and it's real. And whether you want to call it science or spirituality or just good business sense, I don't really care as long as it works. And I know that it does.
Nope.
That's where I can hear that's where we're all at.
This group especially, because that's something I'm into. What you'll find is your messaging is going to attract a certain person and repel everybody else. And you need that line of attraction and repulsion. So
repulsion.
No, you need it. You need it. Otherwise there's no differentiator. So, I'll give you an example. Taking that neuroscience and spirituality and energy conversation into certain religious groups won't work.
Yeah.
So that's not your audience. Okay. Now on the flip side, Joel Osteen, for example, is very much a religious leader, has a huge following. But if he got up and started talking about this stuff, it would repel his audience. So one of the important things for everybody to understand is I want you to attract your ideal client, and I want you to repel the 99% of the rest of the people.
Just
Okay?
like Apple does.
Apple versus pizza. Right? And Apple has been screwing up their brand. As a matter of fact, well, I'm not going to get into that now. We'll do branding in another conversation. But very much as an individual, it's important for you to attract certain people and repel the other. Gary V or Gary Vaynerchuk drops an F-bomb every other word. Okay? Now, that's not my style. I will every once in a while do it. But the reality is it's part of his brand, which is hustle and drive and F this and, very authentic to him. He's going to repel a large amount of people. But the people who listen to him go, I can deal with the F-bombs because the business conversation is so strong. And maybe they like it. I remember when we used to get complaints from Tony Robbins because he drops a lot of F-bombs in his events now. And Tony's very scripted. Most people don't realize, but the Date with Destiny program that you watch today is almost identical to the one that we did 20 years ago, word for word. Like if you went you'd see the same show over and over again. So it's not that he's doing anything by accident. What he actually does is he says there's a large group of the audience that thinks I'm too good to be true. And if I don't drop the F-bombs and show that side, they won't come into my programs.
Right.
They won't trust me. So he's strategically using the F-bombs in his events to get the generation that's coming in that has grown up with a lot of F-bombs on YouTube and this and that. They don't have filtered media there. So it may or may not be your brand, but keep that in mind. I go more towards a little bit more on family. That's why you see Michelle and Tegan and my lifestyle and this and that. So, and athletic adventure, lifestyle, and business. So I'm not going to fill up a bunch of F-bombs in my stuff, right? Okay. Is this making sense, Ajay? And you're in the formulation of who you are going to become. You're also going through a transition. Your transition of who you're becoming is not 100% clear yet. But we'll get you there. And I think where we may end up getting you is who is it that you really want to help? Who do you want to be? And who do you want to help? And what's the problem that they have? If you don't want to help people inside of corporations, if that's not the people that you want to free, then great. If you want to free people up from corporate, then maybe it is corporation talk that you're having, but you're doing it not from inside, but from the outside, talking back to them to get them out of it.
To get them out. Ultimately, because six figures is what I have. Ultimately, it'll be a business for me, and it'll be because the idea is to move away from this and move across, into my business and have that be my main source of income ultimately, and possibly some spin-offs of that. But that's the goal. So I'm aiming, I guess, as everybody here, for the more affluent types of folks who wouldn't mind spending, a bit of money for value.
Maybe.
Can I ask a question real quick of that?
Go for it, Abby.
So in my realm, we have like the Gabby Bernsteins of the world. That she's like a very big, polished millennial sort of spiritual person. And Gwyneth Paltrow has this whole line called Goop. And so she started a really popular blog and then product line extension from that. And she targets, the Santa Monica, Upper East Side, obviously more affluent type person. And my question is, I really want to be Target. Not Walmart and not Neiman Marcus, but I want to be Target. I want to be where people can get blueberries and a flat iron. And I really want to just be as authentic as possible. But I wonder if there's a flaw in that, because I know the price point is going to be a lot lower. So I would have to do obviously more volume. And obviously I would have to continue to fight against showing the value. So I don't know if that's smart. To be starting at such a more an easier range. Like I even thought when we were first starting this, I thought $32.99 was too expensive. I just thought people wouldn't want to spend it, and that's not that much money. So you know what I'm trying to say? Like I just don't know. I'm just asking your opinion
as we all kind of formulate our avatar.
Yep. And you're gonna need to test some of that. And Abby, the brand that you're building, are you still there or no? I think we lost Abby.
Oh no,
She's muted.
sorry, I lost Wi-Fi for a second. Keep going. I'm here.
So what you're asking is positioning. And if you know that your market is Target, by the way, my wife shops at Target. She will never go to a Walmart unless she has to.
Exactly.
Right.
But your also we've talked about this. Your wife is exactly who I'm targeting.
Yeah. So she's going to go to Sprouts.
Yep.
She's going to go to Target. She's going to go to Lululemon, Free People, and she lives in a $5 million house. So if that's your avatar now, and she buys Dr. Axe's stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's got ranges of products. Now, my wife probably won't go to an event with Dr. Axe, but she'll buy his supplements and things like that, and she'll watch some videos. So, and she probably wouldn't spend $100 on something like that because she'd rather spend that on clothing.
Right. Exactly.
But she will spend, what she calls it's a no-brainer. Anything that's around $30 or less, it's like, what, that's a couple trips. She compares it to a shirt or a Starbucks or something like that.
Yeah.
So you can get 500,000 of those moms to buy your $30 product. You're doing great. And then a percentage of those will then buy yours or other people's programs that you refer them to. So this is important to understand. You're going. I see. You get it?
Yep, I totally get it. I actually now I see it because I do know my avatar very, very well, and I think that's what I always hear is like always start so much higher, right? But like that just makes it so out of reach if we're really trying to impact people.
Yep. And by the way, that same mom is going to be buying your food, and they're spending what on the food? Even though the net's not for you, what would they spend on the food?
Yeah. No, you're right. That's where we figured to make it easier with the food, delivery, because that's just as your wife gets busy during the week, she just got back from a trip. She just wants to press one button and have everything that she knows works for her body delivered to her.
Yep. And then she's going on to do the same thing with me and Tegan. Right?
Yep.
And then if through your show, all of a sudden you expose her to a supplement or a clothing line or a car line or whatever, now that mom who's got a high disposable income, who started with a $30 product, is telling.
Oh, I see.
Right? So we'll talk about later sponsorships for those of you who drive media. Inside of our app, and part of what I'm meeting with your attorney on Friday is not just our deals, but also on sponsorships with cars, clothing, shoe lines, food lines. Is bringing. Yeah. I talked to a guy 2 weeks ago who gives away $7 million a weekend of free stuff on FanDuel. He's the guy who gets all the brands to give their shit away on FanDuel. $7 million a weekend. So what we're doing is saying, all right, Abby's going to target these women. Okay. That's a great demographic. If you bring them into your programs and either on your app or our app, we're getting the data on them, then guess what? Target's going to want to advertise to those women inside the app, and that's a revenue stream.
Right. Okay? Yep.
So we'll get into this, how to monetize in addition to just selling an info product or your products. You can make a ton of money off of representing brands to that audience that you align with. Could be Lululemon, could be your own apparel line, whatever.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You got it. Okay, so I hope this is helping each of you start to think a little bit, and you may never go down that pathway, by the way, all right? But for those of you who do, like we took Comey down a pathway today, right? Abby's looking at media and monetizing through products and somewhat services. So I want you to understand, and this all goes into what I call your business model. What's the model going to be for you? And in the beginning, I want it really, really simple. I want to know what is the sub niche, because now I can target your avatar. Now I know what product and service to sell them. Now we can figure out how to build your brand. Now we know what media channels to focus on. Is it Facebook? Is it YouTube? Is it Pinterest? Is it Instagram? Is it ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox? Right? I know what other brands to align you with based on what you're doing. Okay? So, is Scott better to align with a Home Depot or a Lowe's? Okay? Because guess what? He's going into that market. Right? What designers is he going to align with? Who's watching his reality show? Right? What car company? So this is the way that you need to start to think. And you may never get into that game, but at least think that way. And that's how you build a multi-billion-dollar brand, not just 100,000. And by the way, some of you, 100K is fine. I don't want to discount that either. I started and I wanted to practice. Who's on the 802 number?
That's me.
Me.
Can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah.
It's Risa. Okay.
Oh.
I used the phone number to call in because you were getting feedback on the computer.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So is this helping?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody?
Very much. Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right, so we probably got time to do one more mastermind kind of thing for today. Anything that somebody wants to use the mastermind for, in your business. Let me share with you, because Jen is messaging me here real quick. I love it. Scott, I want to see that. So Ultimate Wealth Workshop, I want to give you guys a little heads up. We have shifted your mastermind date of when we're going to come here to the house and do a live, mastermind for 2 days, so that we can also, for those of you who wanted to, you could come as my guest to a Ultimate Wealth Workshop that we're going to run here in San Diego. Okay. So what we did is we said, let's do them back to back. So for those of you who are flying in, you could maximize your time if you want. The dates for that, let me give it to you real quick. The Wealth Workshop is going to be on the 27th and the 28th. That's a Saturday, Sunday. You don't have to attend, by the way, but if you want to, you'll experience a very small. What's that?
Month?
Oh, sorry. January.
January.
Yeah, January 27th and 28th.
Yes.
The Wealth Workshop. And I'm running this Wealth Workshop because usually I do a 3-day, I'm cutting it down to 2 days. And I've got a 2,000 person workshop in the Philippines. And the guy who's going to co-lead it with me never led a wealth workshop. So he's going to co-lead this weekend one here in San Diego. And we're going to invite probably 50 coaches, speakers, and trainers. Because at some point, I want other people teaching these around the world. I don't want to be the one that's teaching these all across the world. So we're using this as our usually we have 500 people in them, but I'm going to do a 50 person one, and we'll make it, more specific. Jen will email everybody the calendar later, but I want you to know in advance. That's on Saturday and Sunday, the 27th and 28th. Then we will do the mastermind on that Monday and Tuesday. So it'll be the 29th and 30th will be the coach, speaker, trainer, mastermind here at my house. So if you want to come in for the weekend, cool. If you don't, that's fine. But the mastermind will be on the Monday and Tuesday.
That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That sounds
cool.
wonderful.
And if you've never been to one of my events, this will be a smaller scaled down version of it, but you'll see how we make them experiential and gamified. And I promise you'll have some shifts around money in this workshop. It was designed to help people break through their financial limits. All right.
Yes.
Any comments or questions on that? No?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had a random question. Is everybody hearing me okay this time? I know that was a problem last time.
Perfect.
You're perfect.
Okay, sound great.
Okay, so let me see what else. Jen's hit me with some notes here. I want to make sure I covered what we had to cover. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anything else on the mastermind standpoint that you want to mastermind?
I had a quick technical question, if you don't mind. So when I was helping the gentleman who I've been coaching, when I share stuff with him, just copyright wise, are there any rules that I should be aware of? Like I forwarded him a couple articles that I thought he would find useful. And I know like if I were ever to share your podcasts or anything, obviously you give credit, but is there anything I should know there just from a legal standpoint?
No, as long as you're not trying to make it your content. If you're giving authorship rights to whoever did it, then
Absolutely.
share away.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So there was something I wanted to run by the mastermind group here. And it's the product that I'm working on that I started to teach some workshops on. And I call it the foundational triad. And so it's about making choices. So this is actually backwards. I don't know. How do I turn that around? I don't know.
I can see it all right.
Okay. So it's about making choices. And so like the statistics are that the average person is unsatisfied with 50% of the choices they make in their home life. And then I say this dissatisfaction usually stems from kind of like this unconscious emotional choices based on circumstances and even habit. And I say if you focus on your heartfelt desires, your lifestyle, and your values, that you will be less affected by learned behavior, past experiences, your partner, media and marketing, your parents, and your friends. And so what I'm doing is breaking this down to have people focus on making their choices based on these three areas in their life as a foundation for making choices. So your goals and dreams, your heartfelt desires and things that make you feel good, your lifestyle, what phase or stage you are in your life, and your values, the principles that you stand on. And so what am I getting at here? So the idea was that in creating so I'm going in depth of identifying and defining what those are with each individual, then integrating them into their home to have them to start to manifest them and to start to live with that in a more kind of a conscious way of living and creating an environment that supports these aspects of themselves.
So are you asking us for feedback on the framework that you've built?
Yeah, and even if it resonates with anybody or how it resonates with people as far as, or even just this idea that making choices, is that a viable type of problem to address?
All right. So who wants to give feedback?
I think it is, Scott, but the remark that I like to make is at the bottom you have two circles, parents and friends.
Yeah.
You told us the last time you're still single, but a lot of people have a better half or a partner. So I would add parents/partner. So you include also an important part of their life.
Sure. That's up actually on the upper right side was the partner or spouse.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's hard to see, definitely.
Yeah. I like models like that. It gives overview. It sometimes is a little bit too simple, but I think for your purpose, with a little tuning, it might fit. Why don't you send a copy of this concept to our email boxes? Yeah. One of my suggestions was in the app, and Rita already did it, I did it too. Why don't we share our address, our physical address, our phone numbers, our email, so we can easily contact and send things. I was thinking about Abby. I already copied something, but I cannot send it in the chat.
Okay.
From my marketing book about pricing and values and how that works.
I would love
prices, high value prices. So if we do that in the app, I will put it in my database and I can easily reach you.
I like that.
Let's do that.
I was a little, oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Margaret.
Scott, your design, is that how you're going to help people design their space? Is that the point of your triangle, to help people figure out what they want in their space?
Well, yeah, to start to make choices from a place that's relevant to their life right now, and also their values and these things that inspire them, or this person they aspire to be, I should say.
Right. My only question or concern, and this comes from being married, when you have a communal space, how is that gonna work for people?
Well, it's about first evaluating where each individual is at. So it would be something that a husband or a wife or a spouse would take for themselves, and then be able to measure, because that's one of the things there was a phrase says, people used to fight about money, now they fight about space in their home. It's really to identify what items and space means to each individual in the household.
Cool.
So yes, I was just saying, so models are good like that. If you'll get it out to more people and get feedback, what fits and doesn't fit.
Okay.
And like Hans gave you some feedback, Margaret gave you some feedback. So take that feedback in, put it in front of a couple hundred people, and just see if they get it. Like when I teach these models, I'm always listening and looking for feedback. I teach, the 9 environments is a model. It's a framework. So as you're developing your frameworks, get it in front of more people, and you'll see where it fits and where it doesn't.
Nice.
Never be stuck on your original model. It's rarely the right one.
Oh, this one's brilliant.
I hear you. Always is.
Sorry.
Okay, so good. I like the way the group is showing up. I love that you want to connect outside of this. That's really important. Get to know each other. You're going to resonate with certain people. You aren't with others. You're going to find that there's some transactional relationship stuff that can happen. Like, hey, I'm doing this, you're doing that. Share ideas, share resources, whatever you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, just tell the other person, hey, I'm focused on other stuff, or I don't like your personality, or whatever. It is what it is. Okay. So yeah.
Quick question, Jim. Just like you said, to present it to people, and that's part of the whole ideas with the workshops. And how do I protect myself? So I know that there will be changes with the system and such. And what's the best way, like putting it out in the world that I'm protecting my intellectual property, but also allowing it to be fluid at the same time?
Well, there's a couple of things. Number one, get rid of the fear that people are going to rip your shit, because the reality is people are going to rip your shit. So don't worry about it. Let it go. It's kind of like Elon. I really appreciate what he did with his patents. He said, we've got the best battery technology in the world. Yes, we patented it. I want everybody to use it. Okay. So get your content out. That's number one. Don't worry about it. Number two, the more people that you educated about your models and things first, we are creatures where if you introduce somebody to something first, they're going to relate you to that. Okay. So you could have the best thing in the world, but if I hear about it from somebody else, I think that they did it. That's the reality.
Gotcha.
Unless you have some people with integrity, like I love people sharing all of our stuff. As long as they say, hey, I got this from Jim or the Ultimate Game, and we collaborate. That's totally cool. Then the third phase is, legally, you protect your stuff. So the way that you do it is you copyright it, and at some point, especially since you're going to be on TV, perfect your models, get your copyright, and package that as intellectual property. I will tell you, when you get to that point, meeting with attorneys is important. So,
what was that again? You're breaking up a little bit, Jim.
When you get to that point where you have your body of work, it's important for you to have an intellectual property attorney gather your work. So I have a list of all of the content that I've created, and it's a ton. I also have a list of the systems and processes that we do inside of our business, because that's intellectual property.
Nice.
And I have trademarks on things. if I ever wanted to, if somebody was doing something that didn't benefit me or was directly taking business away, they would hear from the attorneys. But I don't typically go that route.
Yes.
So I would say, number one, get over the mindset piece and just get your stuff out there, right? And then make sure that you are packaging it. The other piece, I'll give you a little insight on this. Jim Bunch is a brand.
Okay.
Jim Bunch has created content that Jim Bunch licenses to the Ultimate Game of Life and Ultimate Game of Business.
Okay.
This content was created by Jim Bunch. The fact that I have allowed the Ultimate Game of Life to sell products and programs around that is a relationship between Jim Bunch, the content creator, and the Ultimate Game of Life and Ultimate Game of Business. Now, I happen to own 100% of the Game of Life and Game of Business, but I will tell you, I've had friends who started businesses that they've loaned their intellectual property to, and it cost them a fortune to get it back. So if you, Scott, creates content, you are the author of that content. And if you have a company like your reality show that you're going to put this on, or license that to the reality show.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about that, Jim?
Yeah.
Just a technical business question. Do you actually, Jim Bunch, the content creator, are you a corporation or an LLC, or are you actually separate from you as an individual?
Jim Bunch is not currently set up as a corporation. I used to have a corporation that I set up independently of that. But all my intellectual property is copyrighted to Jim Bunch. So the logo, let me show you guys something real quick.
And why did you ask, Risa?
Well, I was asking more from thinking of a tax asset protection angle. If Jim Bunch, the individual who has a social security number, who in our IRS system is technically a corporation, not a, anyway, if he's getting that as an individual and he leases or sells that information to another business, the Ultimate Game of Life or Jim Bunch on his business, then the income would go to a business versus him individually. I was just curious. It becomes a little bit of a shell game. So I don't know enough about it to know if there's a benefit to have the intellectual property being owned by a business that's called Jim Bunch, the content creator, versus Jim Bunch, the individual that we see talking to us now.
Yeah, there probably is. And we're separating out my content from my companies now. This was something that I watched my buddy John Asraf go through, and it cost him about $750,000. Okay, so this is what, and I learned this from Elon Musk also. So do you see the structure on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jim Bunch is an asset. And the brand, just like a Justin Timberlake is or an Elon Musk is, you have a personal brand that is you. Nobody else is ever going to be that person. So, Hans has a brand. Margaret has a brand, a personal brand.
Do you need to do something formally to make it your brand versus someone else with your same name?
Well, I designed a logo and a look and a feel around that for
Okay.
that specific reason. There's hundreds of Jim Bunches out there, which is crazy. But there are. There's a James Bunch who goes by Jim Bunch sometime, and he was a football hero, star, or whatever. So sometimes his media, but my media shows up before his. So technically, I own the brand, right?
Okay.
In the audience's eyes. But I also own Jim Bunch, which is why we have this look and feel. So if I decide that we'll get into the positioning later of how you brand, but I would say that each of you needs to think about your own personal brand if you're going to do any kind of media, right? So Abby Gibb has a brand, okay? And she needs to be aware of that. So do each of you. Tommy has a brand, okay? Somebody may end up buying your product lines at some point or partnering with you or putting capital into it because you've got the Comey kit, okay? Well, they're technically leveraging your personal brand, but somebody may go, listen, I think I can take that next level. I want 20% of your company that does the Comey kits, And now you can leverage that brand. Tiger Woods, same thing.
Jim, do you know how many hits there are on Google with your name? Between accolades, 142,000 on Google, with only Jim Bunch as two words connected. 142,000 exactly at this moment.
Okay.
A lot.
Yeah, so that's important for me to show up and to rank.
Absolutely.
Right. So, and this is a big shift for me because I've been behind the scenes for the last, 5, 6, 7 years. I've been building companies again, building Power, building Ultimate Life, and US Green Chamber. But those assets, even though I'm the second largest owner of this company, and I'm 100% owner of this company, and I'm chairman of this nonprofit, I have to operate the Jim Bunch brand differently. So what you will see over either the next 90 days or 180 days, we're redesigning the Jim Bunch brand based on the attractive character. So you're going to see me starting to publish my own media, and they will then link to these assets. The same way that Elon Musk is linking to Solar City, Tesla, SpaceX, But his personal brand cannot be used by any of those companies without written authorization from the Elon Musk, not community manager, Elon Musk communications manager. So he has a brand and communication manager for his personal brand. And then each of these companies has that also. All right.
So Jim, on your personal, on the Jim Bunch brand, that's not trademarked or registered, or is it?
It will be. We just had this one created. I'm not 100% on this one. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not sure I like this that much. We're going to position the Jim Bunch high-end athletic lifestyle game-changing entrepreneur. So I don't know if that does this or not. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the reasons you'll see me wearing less and less of other people's clothing is because think about it. If I'm wearing a Nike shirt, I'm technically advertising their brand.
Sure.
So I have somebody researching the kind and style of clothes that I wear, from my casual wear, which is t-shirts like this, to my sportswear, to my suits. And I'm like, if I'm going to be building a media channel, I'm going to wear my own brand of clothes.
I did notice you were wearing Billabong the last time.
Right.
I noticed it.
But in reality, and part of that will be by design, as we build up my audience from 150,000 people to 1 million. I'll be able to go to Billabong and go, you want me wearing stuff in my app or on my shows? Then you're going to sponsor a channel. And I'll share with you guys strategically later which brands you do and don't want to align with based on yours. So Comey, there's a whole type of brand that you will and should be aligning with. Okay. So we'll take this in deeper conversation, but it helps for you to understand who are the brands that you align with, because your audience is going to relate to those. Okay. Does this help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the product lines that are going to come out of Ultimate Life. We've separated, by the way, Ultimate Life. Let me show this. So one more piece. I'm going to share my screen one last piece, just so you can start to see the building of a brand. I don't know. This may help some of you start to get clear on your own stuff. I'm going to minimize this for a second. So you've all seen this model. Let me open these up. Okay. So these models, which are intellectual content properties. Make these smaller. All right, because you already know what's inside them, but I want to show you where this fits. Okay, so from a design standpoint, these things go underneath Ultimate Life. The 9 environments we're going to use as our framework for building media and lifestyle products. Right, so we're going to build media, and I'll show you the behind the scenes of how that'll work. But we're going to build lifestyle media like Red Bull and GoPro, because that's mainstream. And then we're going to build wearables, clothing, fitness bands, things like that. Okay. And we're going to build content with each of the experts in each of these 9 environments. That's going to be how to build an ultimate life. That's all based on the 9 environments. We're also underneath ultimate life going to have ultimate business. How do you build an ultimate business in an ultimate life? We'll have content experts, we'll have media, we'll have product lines, we'll have joint ventures and sponsors in each of these areas. So the Jim Bunch is just like each one of you. That Jim Bunch person is kind of like a spokesperson who loves this brand called Ultimate Life. Right? Now I may reach my brand across and go, hey Comey, I'm gonna feature you in the body environment with your kettlebell kits. And so you and I are gonna be on a video together, and we're gonna target my audience and your audience to build your brand awareness. Okay, Abby and I are doing that also. So we'd have an agreement that says, Abby, you're focusing on, women who have busy lifestyles, and you're selling your 7-day and 28-day, program and your food service. Let's align. I think that's a good product or service. So we know.
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yes. And my no joke de-bloat tea is happening.
Right. So you line extension. Now it may or may not be for me, but I've got a lot of women in my audience, and so does Abby. So let me explain how this works strategically for each of you also. When you look at these 9 environments, same thing with Scott, right? Scott, in theory, what you're trying to create is a model that's somewhat similar to this that gives people a view of their life, right? And you're entering in through the physical door. But let's just say for a second that we have Abby, who's coming in over here in the body, and Comey, who's coming in the body. And just for simple math, let's say that Abby builds up a following of 100,000, then 500,000, then 1 million people. We know her target audience. Let's say Comey builds up an audience of 500,000, 1 million, doctors, nurses, whatever. I'm saying we just start there. That's 1 million and 1 million. And then let's say that Scott builds up an audience of 500,000 to 1 million with his reality TV show that's based on the physical environment. Okay? Here's what's cool. 1 million plus 1 million plus 1 million doesn't equal 3 million. It actually equals 10 million. And what will happen is that these audience will start to self-populate. So part of the thing that I'm looking to do with each of you, and I know this model works because I've got a friend who did this with Social Media Examiner. He brought in a bunch of people who didn't have brands, didn't have reputations, right, before they came together. Most of them didn't have more than 500 followers on social media, but they each niched into a specific conversation around social media. And then as one started to build their audience, that audience started to meet the others, and they built a contingency that lifted everybody's brand and everybody's audiences. Okay?
Absolutely true. That's how I heard about you, is through John Assaraf.
Okay. And where does John focus in environments?
Spirituality.
Spirituality and what?
And financial.
Memetics, yeah.
Memetic. John needs to stay out of financial. He really needs to focus on the neuroscience in the spirituality, a little bit of financial because he's a lifestyle guy. But really where his brand is strongest is in the memetic and the spiritual. Right? And so now John and I do stuff together, and there's a course that I created called Financial Repair and Recovery.
That's
5 videos. Is that where you came from too?
I think that's what I saw.
That's what you saw. All right. So look at how this is working. So John and I are friends, obviously, right? But I put a course inside of one of his programs that added value to him and his audience that led people over to meeting me. So that is a lead magnet. It's a breadcrumb. And that course has got a $250 value, but I let his community have it for free. It's 5 videos on how to get financially free. It is a workbook, and it's a software. And so guess what? I've had hundreds, if not thousands of people go through that because John has 600,000 followers. And guess what? I've sent a ton of people his way. So when you think about it, I think about it like wine. Who on here drinks wine? Anybody? All right. Are you a red or a white?
Both.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. Equal opportunist.
All right. Do you have a favorite bottle of wine?
Just finished it.
Just finished it on this webinar. All right.
Yes.
What's your favorite bottle?
Dark Horse Cabernet Sauvignon.
All right. All right.
For me, it's the from the Elsass, the Gewürztraminer.
Okay. No clue.
Very delicious.
Anybody else?
I like Zinfandels. I think it's 1,200 barrels. I always forget the exact name, but.
Okay. So let me ask this question. Even though you have a favorite, don't you try other wines?
Yeah.
Would you ever just drink one bottle of wine, one type of wine?
No.
When people come into growth and personal development, are they ever just going to do one person's program?
No.
How many of you have done multiple programs in different environments?
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So here's what we're doing. All right. We're helping each of you own a niche or sub niche. And you don't have to be the expert in all these areas. You want to build relationships, and this is why I built the app.
Mm-hmm.
You want to then link to the other experts. You want to build your groups. Look at Oprah. Okay, Oprah's a classic example. She brought in Dr. Oz. She brought in Dr. Phil. She brought in these other people that have expertise in a certain area and built her network. We're doing the same thing. So each of you will have a primary business with multiple streams of revenue inside your business. You will make as much, if not more, through the network that we're building. Because somebody may come in through Abby's $37 program. Let's say a female comes in through her $37 program and she likes that, but she wants an exercise program. She goes over to Comey. And then she really likes Comey and she ends up spending $10,000 to go to one of his retreats. Abby makes a 10% commission on that. She makes $1,000. She makes $100. I'm sorry. She makes $1,000 off a $10,000 retreat that she couldn't have delivered. So a client.
Yeah, I get it.
Right. So this is the framework. Somebody comes in through one of your shows. Somebody comes in through your YouTube channel. It doesn't matter. We're going to tag every person in everybody's events, and we're going to build a network, a compensated network across the whole thing. Okay? So I can target Tony Robbins people who just went to his Date with Destiny event. I can give them a badge in the app, and then I can survey them with the 9 environments and see where they want to grow, and I can send them over to you. They're already into growth. They went to Tony's event. Now they're not. Now what are they doing next? I can send them to Comey. I can send them to Abby. I can send them to Margaret. I can send them to Hans. When you get to understand this model, you'll understand you want to build your personal brand. You want to build your product line as fast as you can and market the crap out of that. And then you want to start to segment your audiences so that you're not trying to sell them all your stuff all the time. You want to sell them what it is that they want or need. Okay?
Beautiful. Beautifully put, Jim.
I love that. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Got the whole vision. That's very clear in the way you articulated that. Yes.
And it'll run over into the life, which is the 9 environments, and it'll run into the business, which is game of business. So for those who are business owners or entrepreneurs or whatever, they're going to have another whole offering over there with some of the best people in the world in building businesses and some of the best people in the world at helping people improve their life. And those who drive the most people in, you got a lifetime revenue stream. Because I'm building it, at least in the initial phases, and we're waiting on the software to be done. But if you send somebody in, they're tagged to you. And the people that they refer in are also tagged to you.
Oh, wow.
2-tiered, not multi-level, 2-tiered. But you'll see how this is going to grow. So I want to help each of you own your niche, build your brand, build your product line, market the crap out of it, and share. Sharing means everyone has more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we have time for a basic question, just to follow up on what Scott just asked?
Yeah.
Just a basic one. We might get to that at later stages. But how do you build up an audience? For me, that's probably because I have no idea. I tried through my photography on Instagram and Facebook, and up to a couple of hundred. But I see other guys with, rubbish pictures. Sorry to say, but and they're clocking in at 65,000 followers, and I have no idea how to even get anywhere remotely close to that.
It's not that difficult.
It's not difficult at all. It's actually
No.
really, really clear. But let me help you understand the difference between what you're focused on, which is a kick-ass product and service, versus marketing. Okay? You want me to show you guys a real quick example?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to show you an example, and I hope this tweaks your thinking a little bit. Let me share my screen again. All right. So, who's the most popular personal development speaker that you know?
Jim Bunch.
Jim Bunch.
That's not true.
Brian Brochard, even though I don't like him.
I know this guy's got like a couple of million followers. Brendan Burchard.
Yeah, Brendan Burchard. Yeah.
Brendan Burchard. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's look at something real quick. I want to give you guys a reality check. So do you think Brendan is more popular than Tony Robbins?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think Tony Robbins has deeper depth to him, or longer.
But metrics-wise, I think
longer
Brendan's got a higher follower count in terms of metrics. I thought, but let's find out.
Let's see. So let's filter. Oops, hold on. Let's go to Brendan's site, brendan.com. So let's go to his YouTube channel. Okay. Let's go to his videos. And now let's go to sort by most popular. Okay. So Brendan,
2 million. Wow.
most popular video has 3.2 million, 2.9 million, 2.4 million, and 2.4. Okay. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
How many do you think Tony Robbins has on his most popular one?
It's been around longer, so I guess.
I don't know.
6 million?
Well, yeah, it's been a 30 million, I would say.
30 million.
You're all way too high. I've already done this.
Oh.
Watch this. This is going to blow. This should blow your mind. I'll talk on it. Hold on. This should blow your mind.
Less.
Wow. Yeah.
Watch this. So here's Tony Robbins' official site. We click on videos. Okay. And we go to sort by. I happen to know this number, but look at this. 630,000.
Yeah, less.
Wow.
Exponentially less.
Yes.
Do you think he's just becoming obsolete?
No.
Oh, that's harsh.
They're missing something that I'm going to teach each of you, which is the difference between marketing and your product. Okay? And I will show you the strategy on how Brendan did it, because the guy who did Brendan, I happen to be friends with, and I hired them for 90 days.
Nice.
I will show you how to get to 1 million followers. But let me give you one other piece, because this is really important from a branding and marketing standpoint. What Tony is doing, and you can make a list of personal development people. I don't care who you do. Let's do Jack Canfield. How many of you like Jack?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think Jack Canfield is relevant to the majority of the people out there?
No.
He's not. Look at this. Tony Robbins is not relevant to the majority of people in the world.
Hi there. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Look at his videos. Now, you could say, well, this is just one channel, but I want you to watch something. So sort by popular. Jack only has 70,000 views, 61, 57. Haven't even broken 100,000 on any of his videos.
But he's got a lot less subscribers as well. But I noticed it because I've been following Jack's material for a couple of years now. But I think he's only started that YouTube initiative not too long ago, I think, compared to the others. Maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Off my memory.
Now, as an exercise, I want each of you to put your list of your personal development gurus, and I want you to understand why I'm going to take you in a different direction, and even my own brand. So what I'm going to teach you is what I'm implementing in my side. I've not built any in as far as the Jim Bunch or Ultimate Life. I've done nothing on YouTube, but I know the strategy, and this is what we're going to implement. Okay. But you got to look at YouTube as a channel, the same way Facebook and LinkedIn are channels. And the reason people go there are different. Now I want to show you something. So these guys, Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, I don't care who you put on a list, Lewis Howe, any of these people, don't understand what I'm about to show you. Okay? Watch this. These guys are in the motivation business, but I want to show you something that is exponentially bigger than any of these guys. Anybody ever heard of Matsuos?
Nope.
No.
Rhapsody?
Yeah, I remember this conversation, Jim.
Okay. Yeah, Abby, I took Abby through this. How many views does Matsuos have?
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, 53 million compared to what?
Exactly. Yes.
All right, now watch.
Wow.
Really important. How many of you know who Matsuos is?
I don't.
I don't know.
You don't, but 100 million people do.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, it's a kid.
Yes.
A kid who did what we call a mashup. And this is what we're going to do with Ultimate Life. Watch this video. I'm not going to show the whole thing. You can watch it. But watch what he does, and I want you to look behind the scenes. Abby comes from the media world. She can see this very quickly. All right? But watch this video. Probably be an ad to start.
In music, you're basically having a conversation.
This is an ad, so hold on. Let me click.
It's a question.
All right, watch this video. This is motivation done right.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, and nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Pain is temporary. Or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside. And something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever. The margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it.
All right, I'm going to fast forward.
We need.
Hold on.
You won't be successful. Give up. Try to keep going. Don't try to quit. You already in pain. You already hurt. Get a reward from it. Now, if you know what you're worth, then go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not point the finger and say you ain't where you want to be because of him or anybody. Cowards do that and that ain't you. You're better than that. Because every day's a new day. Every moment is a new moment. You got to go and show them how I did it. I'm going to show you how great I am. The 17th chapter of St. Luke is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man, nor a group of men, but in all men, in you, the people, have the power. The power to create machines, the power to create evidence. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Now, what are you going to do? Because limits, like fears, are often just mean.
All right. So what's the message here?
That's like a giant Nike commercial.
Yep. And look at the numbers. 53 million views. 70,000. Now, if you understand media and why people go to YouTube, they go to either be educated, like do-it-yourselfers, or to be entertained. And this is the media that people are consuming. Okay? The importance to understand here is when you build your brand, and this is what we're going to do with Ultimate Life, do you think that I could hire somebody like this kid to create branded media for our company?
Sure.
It's different than talking head, which is what Jack is, and Tony is, and Brendan is.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Great point.
It's really, really important. I want to show you one other thing. Those of you who are looking at product lines, okay? Red Bull sells what?
An energy drink.
An energy. Yeah.
Or no, an attitude.
Now you're getting it. Show me on their website where the hell the energy drink is. I can't even find the energy drink on their website. You know what I see? Media, broken into all these different categories of active lifestyle and events. Adventure, aspiring, genius, and epic, kayaking, surfing.
It's really interesting because two things that are really interesting to me right now. So number one, my business partner that you know, Jim, Dina, her boyfriend just became the chief marketing officer for Red Bull. And it's fascinating to pick his brain over this. And then like someone else was saying that the motivational video looks like a Nike ad. And the reason that it works is it's a company that's called Wyden and Kennedy that does it.
Yeah, Dan Wyden.
The two of them, what they have in common is that they understand who they're marketing after. And what you were saying, Jim, is that, ultimately you're creating this community and ultimately we're showing them the lifestyle that they want. And the product, you don't need to sell the product sells itself when they see the quality of life for whatever it is, mindset, kettlebells, whatever, your beautiful home. They just see the quality of life that they want. That's what you're selling. You don't personally, Jim Bunch doesn't need to sit there with his face on the camera. Like, I don't care. Like, love you, but I don't care. That's not what I'm buying. And like for your home, I want to see the home.
You got it.
I don't want to see, I do once in a while so that I know who the hell I'm talking, but that's what works. And that's why Red Bull does, and where it's going to continue to grow, with the events, like you're saying, like these mastermind events, that builds Jim's brand without Jim having to sell anything.
Yeah. It's what Abby's saying here is really important. This is what I want everybody to understand. You don't have to build a Red Bull brand, but I want you to think like Red Bull. If you're going to do any kind of media, you need to think like Red Bull or GoPro or any of these ones that's putting media out that's relevant to the world today. Okay. And that, as Abby says, targets your certain audience. If you get in deeper, and Abby, I'd love to have your Dina's boyfriend over and let's do a session with him.
Yeah,
right?
He just moved to San Francisco. He's living between San Diego and San Francisco now. It's a real rough life. I feel bad.
Yeah. All right. So, but look at who they target, right? For water sports, it's stand-up surfing, kite surfing, windsurfing, scuba. All these are assets. They're all video assets that are branding them. And you know who owns their audience? This company right here. The Enthusiast Network consolidated 64 of the top magazines that target Red Bull's audience. So if Red Bull was going to advertise, yeah, they might do it on Facebook. They're definitely doing it on YouTube. But look, this is the company that actually owns all of the magazines, from motor cars to surfing to snowboarding to stand-up paddleboard. They own all of this channels, 162 million people. Okay? So if you want to start looking at it, and here's the demographics, okay? This is actually a video, I think. Let me look here. Okay, yeah, I have a hard copy of this. Their brand manager is a friend of mine. So,
Hey, Jim, I'm sorry I have to hop off and get to another meeting, but thank you for this opportunity. It was really nice to meet everyone.
Cool, Abby.
Same with me. I have to leave. I have people waiting for me.
Yeah, let's cut it. I'm a half hour over. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
I can hang out the rest of the day.
Have an evening.
Very
So
interesting.
take off those
Thank
guns.
you so much.
We'll wrap up.
All right.
What's your takeaway from today's webinar? Who
My
wants to-
takeaway is Kobe the kettlebell king.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Absolutely. You know, start to kind of draft my my program. Now I kind of have a better idea about my avatar, and I need to design program for that I can market. The key is gonna be market the hell out of what I create, and then partner with others.
Nice. Love it. Good insights.
Yeah, so the whole talking head, just to define that, the talking head kind of educate, or infotainment, I call it, or infotainment opposed to talking head, and the impact of that. And yeah, I mean, that's a kind of just like blew the doors open with me. I've been kind of stuck in a little bit of ways of ready to do some vlogging and film. And so how can I make that entertaining and interesting and relatable at the same time? So that really just like my head's still. Can you see any smoke coming off my head right now?
Yeah, and you're looking to move into mainstream media, and mainstream media is having to deal with online media, which is different. You can do stuff in online media that you will not see on TV because the viewers are different and they want a different experience. So you need to look at the shows that you're competing with, Property Brothers and House Hunters and all those other ones, and you have your spin on it, but you may decide that that your audience isn't going to watch it on TV. Your audience may only watch it on YouTube, which gives you the flexibility to do shit that and I said shit on purpose, because you can do things on YouTube that you will never be able to do on a mainstream TV channel.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Okay, so
you would imagine the kind of things I want to do, Jim.
Well, so this is where we start getting into, you're building your brand, your alliances, all this stuff. It's going to take us a little bit of time, but I need you all to start thinking about where the puck is going, not where it's been. We're going to skate to where the puck is going. I don't want you trying to emulate these guys that are irrelevant to the world. Tony Robbins is not relevant to the world. The best thing he's done for marketing, and I love Tony. He changed my life. The best thing he's done for marketing was Netflix, I'm Not Your Guru, which was his new infomercial. It was an infomercial, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at that, the whole thing is designed to get people who are on Netflix, right, binge watching other stuff, to start to go, wait a minute, he's on here. Yeah, he's that effing guru. Let me see what he mean, not my guru. And all of a sudden they're sucked into, I want to go to his live event. That's what it was. So you got to start to think a little differently about you, your brand, your positioning, and you got to own a very small niche in somebody's brain, because there's mass media. So somebody needs to be able to go, oh, it's that guy. It's that girl. Okay. All right. Any other insights, takeaways? We'll wrap up.
Not to focus on marketing for me, because I get so hung up on followership and social media metrics. But I guess that's not the right approach at this time.
It's a little early for you to be talking KPIs. Yeah, we'll get into your key performance indicators and your channels and all that, but we've got to get you clear on this core piece first.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at one product or one service to start, and you monetize that, and then we build your brand based on you and your attractive character and your vision and mission. Every one of you will have these pieces. You have to, or else you become irrelevant and confused really fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I feel that I'm at.
Yeah, you're not as far away. The other thing I want you guys to understand too, you may or may not be a star or celebrity brand. Okay, so I want to clarify something. Elon Musk has become a celebrity entrepreneur, right? Yeah. So He's on media. He's on stage. He's on all that. You may or may not want to do that. Okay, you may want to, but you don't have to. I personally didn't want to, but I'm being pulled into that direction by the way that we're marketing the business. So I'm willing to do it because I think it's impacting. As Hans said, I've got 140,000 people on Google that are searching for me. Okay, so apparently something's going on out there. I don't even know what it is yet. But you may decide, I don't want to do that. You're not as far away as I think you are. Okay, you have a business that is a very generic business right now, meaning there's 100,000 people that do what you do. Okay,
Right.
Your product and service probably doesn't need to change much. Who you're targeting and how you market to them and how we package you definitely needs to change. Okay, and it may be that you're positioning Risa Ray as that financial guru, or it may be that you're picking 5 or 10 financial gurus and we're using their media to drive your business. Okay, so you got to think about this, because if we package you and try to make you that celebrity, okay, that may or may not work. Now you got to develop your brand, you got to develop your content, you got to develop your messaging, and we got to market you, which is fine. You may want to say, well, what I really have is I have a business and a passion for financial literacy and education, and I want to align with Sharon Lechter and Robert Kiyosaki and Dave Ramsey and Phil Town. And I want my site to curate their content very much like what Matsuos is doing. I want to curate their financial literacy content sponsored by my financial company. And I'm going to leverage their stardom and their brands to bring it in. What does Nike do? Who's the owner of Nike? Anybody know?
You don't picture his face, but
it's Phil Knight. And nobody knows that unless you study the company. Yeah. But who wears Nike's products?
Athletes.
Which ones?
The top.
A lot of basketball players.
Michael Jordan, maybe?
Michael Jordan, probably the most famous one.
Is the most famous. He branded that company. Okay? So what they did is they leveraged star power to drive the brand. You don't even know Phil Knight. I do, because I've studied their business. But Phil Knight used to sell those shoes out of the back of his car, running shoes. And the moment that Dan Wyden of Wyden & Kennedy, which is who Abby brought up, they are the #1 advertising firm in the world. And I know Dan Wyden from a charity that we're involved in, right? Pachamama. Dan Wyden created the brand Nike for Phil Knight, Wyden & Kennedy. So the tools that they use, you can use. They use celebrities and media to drive a brand. You may or may not be that celebrity, but you can definitely leverage them. And by the way, we don't have to start with Michael Jordan. You can start with micro influencers, people who have an audience of 1,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 people, because those micro influencers aren't so expensive that you couldn't afford to broadcast your stuff on their channels. Okay.
Do you know what? It's funny that you just say that. Just a quick one. I have an Instagram account where I just showcase some of the photography, so it's not related to anything I want to do here. But I invariably ended up coaching this. I think it's a young woman on Instagram who's into. I think she models or takes pictures, all sorts of things. Anyway, and we ended up having a conversation. I just gave her a couple of nudges to think about her personal life and personality generally, and how to move forward, because she was stuck in sort of thought paralysis. And it's interesting because she's got, as a matter of fact, she's got close to 70,000 followers or something, and that would be something to leverage, I guess, through what you just talked about.
Yeah. We'll get deeper into this because we're starting to get into a little bit of tactics.
What was the term that you used? What was it?
Micro influencers.
Micro influencers. Okay.
Yeah. So you have your celebrities, which are influencers at the higher level, and then you have bunch of micro influencers all over social media, and they have under 100,000 followers, but those 100,000 followers love their stuff. And if they said, hey, go check this out, you would send audience to your product or service. So once you've built up your brand, now you can move up to the next level. Okay.
Jim, quick question about the attractive character, the exercise we just did. How can where should we go from there? Maybe that's a better question.
What do you mean? Where do you go?
I've started to define these different areas, and as far as even just putting some film or video or scripts together, how can I integrate, or do I need to test it still, or
not yet? You're not ready to start creating media around your character.
Okay.
So what we want to do is have you present your attractive character like this, and when you have your 3, okay. Then off that, we'll go, well, what are the extensions of that? How are you representing, like in this case, family and friends? Well, when I'm traveling, I'm going to be taking cool pictures in San Francisco or in Berlin or whatever of really cool homes or businesses, right? So we start building your media library in each of your categories so that when people go and they search you or your company, they start seeing that media.
Okay, gotcha.
So we'll build what kind of media, what quality of media, what's the look and feel, and I'll show you, we'll start studying some of the people that are doing this really well so that you go, oh, I'm more like this person, but in this industry. Or I like this, like Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V is a good example. I'll take you guys through a little understanding of his business, but he's built Gary V Media, and he's out promoting his media while he's building businesses. And you'll see his look and his feel and his branding is black and white and red. And so now then you'll look at his YouTube channel, his Instagram, his Twitter, and you're going to see how he's packaging media so that he can drive people to products and businesses. So we'll get you there. You're not quite there yet. Get clear on your attractive character where you could explain it to the group and where you would say, hey, because I'm into neuroscience, right? The kind of media you're going to start to see is I'm going to be at the artificial intelligence conference. I'm going to be at the neuroscience conference, and I'm going to interview John Assaraf and Mark Waldman. So we start to see the media that represents, oh, you're into neuroscience. And then we see the photography piece, right? So under family, friends, and interests, we start seeing, and I'm obviously, doing AGs, but we would start to see him working with killer photographers or representing killer photography, this, that. It's just you're building a perception in the audience.
There you go. I like that.
Very nice. Yeah.
And our attractive quality is giving us a direction in which to develop content to support that.
Yeah. You only want to publish media that's going to represent your attractive character, because the audience is searching for, how do I put this person in a bucket? And am I interested in any of the 3 things that they're interested in? Right. So you're going to start to see media from Jim Bunch that's going to look like, the surfing and volleyball and snowboarding and all that. You're going to see my family and friends and trips. You're going to start to see and we're bringing in a whole new media channel of the inspiring media that's going to be like Matsuo stuff. And you're going to see me also starting to get around other business experts and leaders in each of the business categories, these categories. I'm going to start doing podcasts and interviews and things. So all the media is going to show people around game-changing business and ultimate life.
So we probably need to be careful too in just like our personal Facebook accounts, what sort of thing we put out there.
Yeah, you'll notice I haven't been posting anything on my personal Facebook account. Everything moved to fan page because we're pulling back on the media for a little bit so that when we come out, we've got the right look and feel and content.
Okay.
Yeah, because if somebody goes to your Facebook and all they see, random stuff, Google some of the celebrities. Go Google celebrities and see what pulls up. They have brand managers. They only allow certain photography.
Right? I would.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I would definitely split your personal Facebook page that's connected to your family and friends and that sort of thing, if you use it for that, from a a business page representing, you know.
But I would think someone could search it and find it regardless,
But
even if it's your personal page.
they'll probably find you and then probably send you a request, and then you end up like Mark Zuckerberg or one of these guys with, I don't know what, 3 million friend requests, and you know, you don't have. Personally, I wouldn't accept them into your personal space. I would keep them on a business level.
You may end up saying, we'll talk about this a little deeper.
Sorry,
but,
yeah.
But yeah, you just all need to recognize that you are a media asset in some way, shape, or form, or your brand is. And with social media the way that it is, you need to use it strategically. Don't haphazardly push media out.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Can I ask just one quick question? I'm having real trouble defining my attractive characters. You know, it's easier for someone to tell you instead of, you know, me sounding like I'm trying to blow my own horn. So I'm just having real trouble with that.
All right. So I'll give you a couple of pieces and then we'll have to develop it later.
Okay.
Part of your attractive character is your medical and health background. Okay. So anything to do with medical and health, nursing, doctors, that whole thing, healthcare, and then nutrition, all that, exercise. Okay. That's part of your attractive character for sure. The other part of your attractive character is the journey you've made from Africa to here. So that story and your people and your homeland and the struggles and this and that. And then you just need a third part, whatever that third part is. Okay. Probably some interests, hobbies, family, whatever it is. Your home stuff might be your family bucket too. Try to put 3 main categories, and everything has to branch off those 3 or it just doesn't get published.
Okay. Okay.
So I then can go, Comey's into this, and this. I now have an image. I know who he is as a brand. And now I know how to align his media and his products and services.
I see.
Like, it would never make sense for me to promote a tobacco company. It's a complete misfit, right? Yeah. So do we love parties and alcohol? Yeah. So I could actually have my own vodka brand. I don't like vodka, but rum. If I wanted to. Now, some people go, this doesn't fit with your personal development, but it does with my lifestyle side. Yeah. So that might be a differentiator from a Tony Robbins who would never have alcohol, right? Just an example. But because of the sports and things that I do, there's some people who smoke pot. There's some people who do alcohol. There's some people who are vegans, right? So you start building your brand based on who you are. Okay?
Great. Yep.
Cool. All right, everybody, rock and roll. Have an awesome week. And
thank you.
We'll chat soon.
Thanks.
Guys, thanks. Have a good one.
Thank you. Great seeing you.
Cheers. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.